From Taiwan, I'm Reece Ayers with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's Coast Guard says a Chinese man was found swimming around Taiwan's outlying Kinmen Islands using an inner tube on Friday, attempting to sneak ashore. The man was found around Dadan Island, part of Taiwan's Kinmen County that is just over 4 kilometers away from Xiamen in China. He was arrested and taken for questioning. The incident follows a string of cases of Chinese citizens entering Taiwan illegally in recent weeks, arriving on small boats. The Coast Guard says they are not ruling out the possibility that this is yet another example of Chinese efforts to use cognitive warfare to intimidate Taiwan. For more on this story, Cadence Carrantas explains what officials and experts in Taiwan are saying about these incidents.
我已经踏上了祖国的宝岛台湾的土地，并且将中国鲜艳的5星红旗插在了祖国深爱的这片土地上。
This is the moment a Chinese man says he arrived on Taiwan's coast, claiming to have sailed from China's Fujian province all the way across the Taiwan Strait in a rubber dinghy. That video, posted to social media, along with another appearing to indicate the man made the trip to help reclaim Taiwan for China. It's just one of a series of recent incidents of Chinese citizens arriving illegally on Taiwan's shores in small boats that have some in Taiwan concerned, with both Coast Guard and national security officials saying these incidents could be part of China's gray zone tactics to intimidate Taiwan, which China considers part of its territory and has threatened to take by force if necessary. When pressed on the issue in the legislature, the head of the country's intelligence agency had this to say.
判断上来看也是会有不同的状况，有的可能不能排除它是有中共灰带刻意的袭扰，但有一个部分也某种程度反映来的这些偷渡客，他都是中国社会非常底层的人士，有的都是临时工。那是不是也因为中共因为现在经济比较不好，而有一些偷渡客铤而走险的状况，我们也不能够排除。
The arrivals have come one after another. Just a day after the incident captured on social media, 2 more Chinese people showed up on Taiwan's northern coast, also in a small rubber boat, reportedly claiming that they had fled to Taiwan because they were facing persecution in China. A few days later, Taiwan's Coast Guard detained 2 more Chinese men who had sailed over to Taiwan's outlying Kinmen Islands on a small wooden boat and were trying to sneak ashore. Some have also raised questions about Taiwan's border security, with officials saying they are working to improve coastal surveillance.
其实台湾的海岸线很长然后我们受限于海巡署的人力其实没有办法每一段海岸线都能够顾及所以我们海巡署现在正在想办法强化怎么样用科技设备的方式来补强。
But at least one analyst says these incidents do not indicate that Taiwan's border security is weak and don't pose any real maritime threat. These kinds of small boats are hard to detect, in part because monitoring systems are looking for larger threats. The real issue, he says, is the fear these incidents could cause.
I think that what you are seeing right now, especially with the latest couple of incidences, you're seeing it become more of a social media trend. And I think that becomes much more dangerous because it's less of a maritime security threat and it becomes much more of a psychological impact to the society. It's not about securing the border per se. It's more about preventing and mitigating that psychological harm that's going to happen to the people of Taiwan, where it feels like the border is insecure.
Taiwan's government and Coast Guard say they are investigating each case to find out more about their motives, and in at least one, looking into whether small boats really did make it all the way across the Taiwan Strait unaided. But with many of those questions still unanswered, Taiwan may not have seen the last of Chinese people wandering up on its shores. Ryan Wu and Cadence Carrantas for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan President Ching-te has said perks for Taiwan's AI sector could soon be on the way, speaking at a forum in Taipei. As Leslie Au reports, diversifying Taiwan's tech supply chains away from China has been one of the president's major policies.
2, 1, 请启动。创新、安全、韧性。
Betting big on artificial intelligence. President Ching-te announces that he will roll out incentives to help Taiwan's AI sector thrive.
那为了要达到这个目标，政府会做几个事情。第一个，我们会建制跟业界大家共同合作，建制法治， 推出国家政策，这个在金融的支持，还有税负方面的鼓励，这个我们通通都会来做。
AI was just one of many topics covered at a forum where semiconductor supply chains took center stage. After all, no semiconductors, no AI. Taiwan's Industrial Technology Research Institute, or ITRI, hosted the event. The forum sought to connect leaders in the semiconductor field in a bid to diversify global chip supply chains and decouple the industry from China.
The second role we can play is to set up as a platform to build trustable alliances. I think that's very important because everybody talking about the non-China supply chain and also the supply chain safety, supply chain resilience.
Democratic supply chains have been a key policy point for President Lai. Simply put, he wants Taiwan to work more with its democratic partners and allies, lessening dependence on China, which he has called a foreign hostile force. The Lai administration showed its commitment to the policy, with both the economy and foreign ministers in attendance at Friday's event.
各位伙伴，今天不是只是在讨论产业合作，更是在为科技民主建立一个更稳定的护城河。
Taiwan has a major advantage in the chip-making field and is well positioned to influence where and how semiconductors are made. As such, chips have become a crucial asset for Taiwan's diplomacy. Representatives from the US, Japan, France, the UK, the Netherlands, and more spoke at the event. Hundreds of industry leaders also attended. But some insiders believe that Taiwan should keep its politics and business separate.
I think that there's a way to the best it can separate the politics from business decisions. And I think that that's the way to move forward for Taiwan to grow economically.
The global trade order now faces major challenges and is reshuffling to overcome those hurdles. Much of the uncertainty is fueled by U.S. President Donald Trump's ambiguous tariff policies, which have also taken aim at semiconductors. The world's largest chipmaker, TSMC, has asked the U.S. to consider tariff exemptions on semiconductor products after it announced a $165 billion investment in America. But Trump has made no promises. Even as anxiety continues to hang over global trade, Taiwan is using this moment to shift the winds in its favor. Leon Lian and Leslie Liao for TaiwanPlus.
Just a week after shutting down its last nuclear power plant, Taiwan is now ramping up coal-fired energy production. But the move is sparking concern. Lawmakers and environmentalists warn pollution is on the rise. And, as Rick Glauert reports, Taiwan's debate over nuclear power is far from settled.
Smoke rises from a coal-fired power plant in central Taiwan. Units brought back online just days after Taiwan shut down its last operating nuclear reactor. And in Taiwan's capital, lawmakers gather to protest this decision, saying it's impacting public health.
那这不是转型哦，我想这是牺牲百姓的健康。
Taiwan's controversial nuclear power plants are now all switched off, but the energy debate is far from over. Taiwan pursued nuclear energy in the 80s and 90s. At its peak, it relied on it for about half of its energy production. But after the nuclear disaster in Fukushima in neighbouring Japan, safety concerns led Taiwan to begin shutting down its 4 reactors. And, for now at least, fossil fuels are making up most of the deficit. Despite the health concerns, state-run Taipower says it has been transparent about reactivating fossil fuel units to meet rising demand.
台电一向就是依照着这一个规范在启动，所有的机组并联发电在台电的公开网站上面，全部都有呈现，不会有偷来这件事。
Taiwan faces an uphill battle to meet its 2050 carbon neutral goals and keep pollution down. New wind and solar projects are starting to come online, but not fast enough to make up for the loss of nuclear power. or to curb Taiwan's growing dependence on fossil fuels, which now supply nearly 90% of the country's energy. The government here now saying they could go back to nuclear.
I think small modular reactors and new generation of large nuclear reactors can be considered by this government, because the announcement was made publicly by the premier. So that's why I'm sure that this government will come back to nuclear again in the future. But I'm not sure how soon would that be, okay? But if we are only talking about new nuclear technology, then we have to wait until 2030.
That's a long wait for Tech Hub Taiwan, where the demand for energy is only increasing. Much of the world's most sophisticated semiconductor chips are made here, production rising to meet increasing demand for AI supercomputers. Shutting down its now aging and, for many people, unsafe nuclear reactors may have solved one of Taiwan's energy challenges. But the bigger dilemma remains: how to keep the power on while addressing people's concerns about their health and safety. Chris Ma and Rick Lowett in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Robots are joining Taiwan's firefighting crews, stepping into danger so their human colleagues don't have to. After one robot was destroyed in a Chiayi chemical blaze, officials say the sacrifice shows why they are so valuable, especially as the public has raised concerns about the safety of first responders. Chris Gorin reports.
Here lie the charred remains of a firefighting robot sent in to help put out a fire at a chemical plant last month in Chiayi in central Taiwan.
人直接先撤出，并留机器人继续在火场里面做防护的动作。人出来没多久，整个温度提高闪燃，所以就后来全面燃烧之后，屋顶就整个塌陷。
The use of these robots has been on the rise in Taiwan, including at another Chiayi factory fire earlier this month. The bots are able to enter structures and spray water in areas too dangerous for human firefighters to go. They're fitted with a number of cameras and sensors, which send information to their controllers through laptops and tablets.
具有热显像功能的镜头。第二个是可以跟随炮塔转动的角度而跟着转动的镜头。最下面这边则是机器人本身的镜头。第四个呢，则是气体侦测器的镜头。
This all as there have been calls for greater protections for first responders like firefighters. An incident in the city of Hsinchu last year, where 2 firefighters lost their lives in the line of duty, saw greater public attention on the issue and demands for reforms from those in the profession. While the robots have had some success, they still have some limitations as well.
目前这些消防机器人还是以人工遥控为主，还没有办法完全的自主判断 火场的环境跟自主行动，它没有办法长时间常驻于现场，因为必须要等到消防人员到了才能开始部署。
There are currently 141 of the robots being used in fire departments across the country. The National Fire Agency says the Chiayi fires show the robots' utility in protecting firefighters and will continue to integrate them into their operations.
我们还会再继续 因为这些成功的案例已经发生了，我们会继续进大概79台消防机器人，未来也会部件各多，在各县市继续执行以机器人替代人命的作业，让它能够发挥功效。
Each robot costs between $50,000 and $200,000 US. While the robots may be expensive, fire departments would argue there's no price too high to ensure their human firefighters make it home. Dolphin Chen and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Before we go, check out the latest looks from the runways of Bogota Fashion Week in Colombia. I'm Reece. Take care and see you next time.